Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about very basics of a pygame program that we're going to code here, and the reason behind making this video is that we actually get to learn the very basic functions and methods that we see inside every pygame program that is out there, and by doing this we're no longer confused, uh, and we can actually build upon that and make greater applications. So let's get started. The very first thing we're gonna do is import pygame, and just using the import. Here we can change the name of pygame using the as. For example, I'm gonna change the name to PG, right? And after you doing this, whenever I want to refer to our pygame library, I can just simply say PG, right? Because I changed the pygame to PG. But now I'm gonna just use pygame as it is. After that, we have to initialize different modules inside the pygame library that we just imported. There are two main functions related to initializing. The very first one is pygame.init. So what it does is actually initializes every module inside our library, and it's going to return a tuple or list of two items. The first one is successful modules that are just loaded, for example 4, and the next one is the number of failed modules to load, for example 2, right? And after that we got a pygame dot get init, I believe. Yes, get init. It just returns a boolean showing that is our pygame library is actually initialized or not. I'm just gonna print these just that you can see them. I'm gonna print this. As you can see, the very first line is a tuple of first element successful loaded modules, second the failed ones, and in the next line we got a boolean that is saying true, which means our pygame library is initiated. So after that, initializing our pygame modules, we're going to make a very simple window. In every graphical application, in every GUI, in every game, there is a main frame and main window that we actually change, edit, and do different things inside it. And that's the window that the player or user is going to see. And here we're gonna make one. So I'm gonna make a window called main window, and it's going to be our main object that represents our main window. I'm just gonna call pygame.display.set mode. So what we're doing here, we're calling pygame. Inside our pygame, there is a module called display, and after that, we're calling the setMod method. Here, the setMod actually makes an object, and what it does, it's our very main window. We can actually make different windows and different surfaces, but here using setMod, it's gonna make our very main window that the player is going to see. And we have few arguments for our setMod method. The first one is width and height of our window as a tuple or as a list. For now, I'm just gonna make a 400 by 200 window. I can also do this. I'm gonna main window width, and I'm gonna assign it to 400, and main window height, and I'm gonna assign it to 200. And I'm gonna pass through main window width and main window height. By doing this, I'm making and initializing a main window, and you have to remember the set mod actually makes a very important window that is going to show up. So just for showing that we actually were able to make our very first graphical window here, I'm just gonna make a infinite loop and I'm gonna run our code. As you can see, we have a window that is 400 by 200. Okay, I'm gonna Control C and stop the program. The next part is changing the window title. As you can see, our title here is a very generic name. It's saying pygame window. And again, using the display module pygame.display.setCaption, using this method, we are actually able to change the name of our program. For example, I'm going to say our first basic pygame program. And if I run it again, I get a edited caption for our window. As easy as it gets. So after that, we can do so many things with our main window, with our main set mode. And the most basic one is changing the background. Here I'm gonna call our main object main window object, and I'm gonna use a method inside that called fill. So by doing this, I'm editing my main window and saying to fill the background with a color. For example, I'm gonna make a variable called bg color, and I'm just gonna say, for example, yellow. Now I'm gonna pass through the color as an argument, bg color, and after that I'm gonna run it, and there is a slightly different thing that happens. Let's just see it. As you can see, our program doesn't actually made a difference here, because there's a big reason behind that, an important reason. As you can see, we just use the fill method, but our program is black. So the reason behind that is a very simple principle, and that is called updating the frames, updating the surface that we have. So what happens here, the pygame actually does this effect. It's gonna fill the background with the yellow, but we have to say to our pygame module to update the edits that we actually made and update the main window that we have here. And by using pygame.display module and by calling the flip method, here we edit our main object, main window, and here we actually update the edits and apply the edits. So we're gonna apply the changes, right? And now we have to get a yellow screen. As you can see, it works perfectly fine. After that, there's a very important principle called frame rates. Every program, every GUI, every graphical program that is out there, and every video, every window, there are consist of different frames, and frames are just different pictures, right? And we don't want the pictures that are rendered to be so many or so resources to take up, and because of that we're gonna limit the frame rate of our program, and we have to introduce a new module inside our pygame called the time module. Inside our time module we have different things, but the most important one that we usually work with that is a object called clock. So here I'm gonna I'm making a clock object from our time module, and I'm gonna put it inside our variable called clock. And by editing the clock, I can make different changes that are time dependent inside my program. For example, changing the frame rates and changing different things, right? And the way I do this is I'm gonna call my clock object here, and I'm just gonna say tick. This tick method just limits the number of different frames that I get per second. I'm just gonna make it 60, and here we actually are able to limit frame of our game. After that, we got a main loop. So for again each graphical game, graphical program, every window, for all those things, there is always a while loop that goes forever till you close the program. And each time a while loop executes, we actually make a new frame. And here there's no exception. We use our while true loop, and we're gonna run our program forever here. So you have to always consider there is a while loop behind every game, every graphical program, and each while loop makes a frame for us. And yeah, that's it for our tutorial. Hope this video helps, and peace.